2, 1.
Mark.
And we are at T-minus 9 minutes and counting.
GLS auto sequence has been initiated.
And the ground launch sequencer has been initiated. All countdown functions now are automatically controlled by the GLS computer located in the firing room integration console. NASA Test Director Charlie Blackwell Thompson is about to call for the transmittal of stored pre-launch commands. Everything is go. T-minus 8 minutes, 30 seconds and counting.
PLT OTC, connect essential buses to fuel cells per your checklist. PLT, that's in work.
T-minus 8 minutes and counting. Pilot Kevin Ford is now flipping switches in the cockpit to directly connect the 3 fuel cells to the essential power buses.
OTC, PLT, essential buses all connected to the fuel cells. Copy.
And that work is complete. T-minus 7 minutes, 30 seconds and counting.
GLS is go for orbiter access arm retract.
And the orbiter access arm is now being retracted away from Discovery.
LMC, and of course the Colbert safely into orbit. Have a great flight. Yes.
Those words from orbiter test conductor John Craxton. The orbiter access arm is the walkway used by the crew to gain entry into and out of the shuttle, and it can be returned to position within seconds if necessary. T-minus 6 minutes, 56 seconds and counting. T-minus 6 minutes, 30 seconds and counting.
CRPS OTC, start APU display recorders. Display recorders running. PLT OTC, perform APU pre-start. PLT, that's in work.
Orbiter test conductor has given pilot Kevin Ford the go-ahead to perform the auxiliary power unit pre-start procedure. The APUs provide pressure to the shuttle's 3 hydraulic systems, which move the main engine nozzles and the aero surfaces. T-minus 5 minutes, 55 seconds and counting.
OTC, PLT, APU pre-start complete. 3 great talkbacks. Copy.
APU pre-start is complete. Everything looks good. We're working no technical issues. T-minus 5 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. T-minus 5 minutes, 10 seconds and counting, and we'll be standing by for a go for APU start.
GLS is go for orbiter APU start.
PLT OTC, perform APU start. And CDR OTC, reconfigure heaters.
T-minus 4 minutes, 44 seconds and counting.
Heater reconfig complete. Copy.
The launch team has terminated liquid oxygen replenish to the external tank and is now initiating LOX drain back. T-minus 4 minutes, 30 seconds.
APU start complete. 3 high green. Copy.
3 good auxiliary power units reported by pilot Kevin Ford. T-minus 4 minutes and counting.
CLS is go for purge sequence 4.
The final helium purge of the 3 main engines is underway in preparation for main engine start. And a final test of the flight control surfaces is now being conducted. It's a pre-programmed pattern of movements designed to verify the readiness for launch of the flight control surfaces, the elevons, speed brakes, and rudder. T-minus 3 minutes, 25 seconds and counting. Final aero surface checks are complete, and Discovery's 3 main engines will be gimbaled through a pre-programmed series of maneuvers as a final test before launch. T-minus 3 minutes and counting. Final pressurization of the external tank's liquid oxygen tank is underway.
CLS is go for ET LO2 pressurization.
And we're completing the purge of the shuttle main engines. T-minus 2 minutes, 45 seconds and counting.
PLT, OTC, clear caution warning memory, verify no unexpected errors. PLT, that's in work.
T-minus 2 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. External fuel cell loading is terminated, and the gaseous oxygen vent hood, or beanie cap, is slowly being retracted away from the top of the external tank.
OTC, PLT, caution warning memory, clear, no unexpected errors. Copy and Discovery OTC, close and lock your visors, initiate O2 flow.
T-minus 2 minutes.
Discovery, roger.
CLS is go for EP LH2 pressurization.
Liquid hydrogen replenish on the external tank is now being terminated. The astronauts are closing their helmet visors, allowing their suits to be fully pressurized. T-minus 1 minute, 30 seconds, and counting.
30 seconds.
All systems are go. We're about 90 seconds from the launch of Space Shuttle Discovery. T-minus 1 minute, 15 seconds. The liquid hydrogen tank inside the external tank is reported to be at the proper flight pressure. T-minus 1 minute and counting. The booster joint heaters are being deactivated at this time. T-minus 50 seconds. Transitioning to orbital internal power. Discovery is now running off of its 3 onboard fuel cells. T-minus 38 seconds and counting. Coming up on a go for auto sequence start at T-minus 31 seconds.
CLS is go for auto sequence start.
And we have a go for auto sequence start. Discovery's onboard computers have primary control of all the vehicle's critical functions.
20.
T-minus 20 seconds. T-minus 15 seconds. The sound suppression water system has been activated.
10. CLS is go for main engine start.
We have a go for main engine start. And we have main engine start. 2, 1. Booster ignition and liftoff of Discovery, celebrating its 25th birthday by racking up science and supplies to the space station.
Houston now controlling the midnight ride of Rick Sturckow and his crew to the International Space Station. Discovery rolling on to the proper alignment for its 8.5-minute ride to orbit. 4.5 million pounds of hardware and humans taking aim on the International Outpost. "32 seconds into the flight. The 3 liquid fuel main engines soon will throttle back to 72% of rated performance, down in the bucket, reducing the stress on the shuttle as it goes transonic. Discovery 3.5 miles in altitude, 4 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center. Standing by for the throttle up call now from Capcom Eric Bowe.
Discovery. Copy, go ahead, throttle up.
The throttle up call acknowledged by Commander Rick Sturco, joined on the flight deck by pilot Kevin Ford, flight engineer Jose Hernandez, and Pat Forrester. Seated down on the middeck are Danny Olivas, Christopher Fugelsang of the European Space Agency, and Nicole Stott, hitching a ride for 3 months on the International Space Station. 1 minute 30 seconds into the flight. All of Discovery's systems performing normally. 17 miles in altitude, 18 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center. One minute 50 seconds into the flight. Standing by for solid rocket booster separation. Booster officer confirms staging a good solid rocket booster separation. Guidance now converging, the onboard computers steering the shuttle for its precise path to the International Space Station. Discovery 37 miles in altitude, 54 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center. 3 good main engines. 3 good auxiliary power units, 3 good fuel cells.
Discovery, 2 engine Maroon. Copy, 2 engine Maroon.
Three minutes into the flight, everything going very well for Discovery. 47 miles in altitude, 85 miles downrange. The orbital maneuvering system engines ignited, Discovery kicking on the afterburners for 1 minute 52 seconds, assisting the shuttle and its crew on their climb to orbit. Discovery flying on the singular power of its 3 liquid fuel main engines, draining a half a ton of fuel per second from the shuttle's large fuel tank. Discovery coming up on the point of negative return, where the shuttle will be too far downrange, too high in altitude to return to the launch site in the event of an engine failure.
Discovery, negative return. Copy, Houston, negative return.
Discovery speeding straight as an arrow on its night flight toward a date with the International Space Station Sunday night. 4 minutes 8 seconds into the flight, Discovery 61 miles in altitude, 163 miles downrange from the Cape. All systems in great shape. More than halfway toward its preliminary orbit, Discovery's engines, fuel cells, and auxiliary power units performing as advertised. Discovery now 212 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center. The Environmental Systems Officer reports the activation of a good flash evaporator system providing cooling for Discovery's avionics until the payload bay doors are open an hour and a half into the flight. 5 minutes into the ascent toward orbit. This view from a camera on the external fuel tank.
Discovery, press to ATO, select Istrus. Press to ATO will select Istrus.
That call from Capcom Eric Bowe indicating that Discovery can make minimal abort to orbit targets in the event of an engine failure. However, all 3 main engines continue to perform perfectly.
Discovery, single engine, Ops 3. Copy, single engine, Ops 3.
Discovery now 336 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center, coming up on the 6-minute mark into the flight. The guidance officer and mission control confirming that Discovery's computers have commanded the main engines to swivel again, enabling the shuttle to roll to a heads-up position above the fuel tank, gaining more favorable communications through the tracking and data relay satellite system as it heads uphill.
Single engine STS-104.
Discovery, roger.
And Discovery, press to MECO.
Roger, press to MECO.
That call from Capcom Eric Bowe indicating that Discovery can make normal main engine cutoff targets in the event of an engine failure. However, 6.5 minutes into the flight, all 3 main engines performing normally. Discovery now 466 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center. Less than 2 minutes of powered flight remaining.
Discovery, single engine press 104, nominal shutdown plan. Go for the 20-second plus X, no go the pitch.
Discovery, copy all, 20-second plus X, no go to pitch.
The 20-second plus X referred to by Capcom Eric Bowe is the maneuver that Commander Rick Sturckow will perform after external tank separation, enabling umbilical well cameras to obtain flash photography of the fuel tank as it drifts away. 7.5 minutes into the flight, the main engines being throttled down to limit the stress on the shuttle and its 7 crew members to that of 3 times the effect of gravity. Discovery currently traveling at a speed of more than 4 miles per second. Discovery and its crew 700 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center. 40 seconds of powered flight remaining. Standing by now for main engine cutoff. That will be followed a few seconds later by the separation of the external fuel tank. Booster officer confirms a good main engine cutoff. Now standing by for external tank separation. External tank separation confirmed. Discovery now in its preliminary orbit. You can see the flash photography as Discovery fades away from the camera view. Good maneuver being commanded by Rick Sturckow, maneuvering Discovery so that those cameras embedded in the umbilical well can perform that flash photography of the discarded external fuel tank. An uneventful ride to orbit for the Shuttle Discovery, 2 days shy of its 25th anniversary of its maiden flight, beginning a 13-day mission.
Discovery, nominal MECO, OMS 1 is not required.
Discovery, roger.